Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be installing an auto dimming and HomeLink rear view mirror here on the Elantra GT. Since this is a non-tech package car, it did not come from the factory, but we're going to be installing one very similar to what comes in the tech package. So let's not waste time and get right into it. So when it comes to installing an auto dimming HomeLink mirror after the fact, it can be a little confusing because there's a ton of OEM accessory kits out there with a ton of different part numbers. But from my understanding, when it comes to the Hyundai and Kia stuff, all the mounts should be the same and they should fit on basically every model. Now I don't know for a fact if this one fits yet, but this is the same style mirror that comes from the factory with the Elantra GT tech package. This is the kind of the older BlueLink and HomeLink auto dimming mirror. Now when it comes to the OEM HomeLink mirrors and everything like that, most of them are always made by this company named Gentex. So whether it's a Gentex accessory mirror or an OEM accessory mirror like this one, they're usually all made by that same company. Now the part number I bought here is actually for a 2011 to like 2013 Hyundai Sonata. There's the part number. I'm not sure if that's for the whole kit or just for this wiring harness and such, but basically it came with a little pigtail harness which plugs into the mirror, provides provisions for some power, and we're also going to be tapping into one of the other connections here on the plug. It came with some foam adhesive strips to kind of wrap the connectors in so they don't rattle around or anything. Came with some T-taps, which go, again, for these red connectors, and some zip ties to tie up the wiring. So along with making sure this mirror fits on the mount on the windshield, we're going to have to do a little bit of modification to the wiring, but it is nothing past beginner level in terms of wiring. You basically need a ground, a constant, and a switch 12-volt power. Depending on how you want to wire it, you might be able to do both switch power, which will enable, if your car is unlocked in the driveway, the mirror won't work unless it has switch power, which is the key. So we're definitely going to wire it up following the directions first, and then see if we need to change the one constant power to a switch power so the HomeLink does not work when the car is off. So there's a few different ways to do it here in the Elantra GT in terms of wiring. So here's the standard mirror with this plastic surround behind it. We will need to remove this center cover here, and I believe the mirror will be able to slide out without removing the entire surround. But if it doesn't, we will need to remove the entire surround. Now in terms of gaining access to power and ground, we will need to access the dome light here and some of the wiring behind it. Or if you guys don't want to do that, you'll have to run the wiring along the headline here, down the A-pillar, and to the OEM fuse box. Here's our T20 Torx bit to remove the OEM mirror and install the other mirror. And it says you do not need to remove the screw all the way, just loosen it up and slide the mirror upwards. Just like that, it should come right out. So now that we know this mirror does in fact fit on the OEM mount and the plastic surround fits over it and everything is good with that, now we get into the wiring. Now I want to give a huge thanks to Garrett for hooking me up with the wiring pinouts for this exact harness for the Sonata. Now a lot of the other Hyundai mirrors might be the same, but this one is a little different because it has the BlueLink buttons and everything like that. So the connectors are a little bit different instead of just having the HomeLink power and dimming wiring, which is 3 wires. But we will still be using just 3 wires out of the 5 provided, and I'll show you guys exactly which ones. So I'll go ahead and throw the pinout up on the screen so you guys can kind of follow along here. But we will be using these 2 red connector wires as well as the 3rd wire in this bottom row on the mirror connector. These other 2 wires going to this black connector we will not be using, so I'll probably just cut it off, take the single wire, and we'll wire those 3 up to our switched, constant, and ground. So once you guys have the dome light uninstalled, you want to find the larger 4-pin connector. That's the one that has the power and ground in it. The red is going to be the constant 12-volt power, and the black is going to be the ground. And again, we'll have to run the one wire down the A-pillar for the switched power. So one thing I noticed that's kind of cool is that in the headline there's actually a provision, a little cutout for a little wiring harness to pass through. So I don't know, that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm sure it's cost savings that Hyundai uses the same headliner for all the cars, but I don't know if you guys can see that, but right there's a little provision for a little wiring harness. So it's not like you even need to modify that for this install. So I don't know, just found that pretty neat. So I know I haven't been filming a ton, but it's super tedious to film your wiring, and I'd rather just show you in steps where I'm at. So I got everything temporarily hooked up here, and everything worked first try, which I am super pumped about. That's always a plus when you're doing any sort of wiring. But let's show you guys where I'm at right now. So I have the mirror and everything permanently set in place. I tightened the screw, the Torx bit down and everything like that, and the cover is back in place. Like I showed you that notch in the headliner, I went ahead and electrical taped the first like 6 or 8 inches of wiring harness that passes right here underneath the headliner, and I also used one of the included foam 3M backing things from the kit, so hopefully there's no noise or anything up here from the wiring harness moving around or rattling. So just a little bit of extra isolation there. So now in terms of where I tapped into, like I said, we used the red and the black wires from the dome light controls. This red one is the 12-volt constant, this black one is the ground, and then this long one here that I've run temporarily to my auxiliary fuse panel there is the switch 12-volt power. So as you can see, the car is off, and here are the HomeLink buttons, and as you can see, the HomeLink has power when the car is off. So that leads me to believe that the HomeLink here is tied with the constant power up here. So if you didn't want the HomeLink active, my guess is that you would want to change this from being the 12-volt constant into a 12-volt switched. So you'd want to wire both the constant and the switched to a switched power like I have down here, and of course you can still use this ground if you would like. That's my guess as far as how this HomeLink works. Of course, when I power it up with switch power, the mirror itself powers on, and you can see everything like that is working. I'm not sure why it's flickering in the camera, but something to do with the refresh rate because it's fine in person. But yeah, so everything looks to be working. I checked the auto dimming feature. It works because I blocked the sensor on the back. See, the compass needs calibrated. But yeah, I think we were ready to go ahead and button everything up, put the dome lights and everything back, run this wire down here to the auxiliary fuse panel permanently, and yeah, we're good to go with this install. So as you can see, everything is now all buttoned up and we are finished. This mirror looks great. As you guys know, it's the one that comes in the tech package, but now I have HomeLink, so I don't have to carry around garage door openers all the time. Of course, I get the auto dimming, and I get the compass, which I found out the other day that the base cars do not have because Hyundai always likes to put the compass up in the mirror. So yeah, everything looks great, looks OEM from here. My dash cam cable run through under that cover as well. Looks super clean. I now have 4 circuits running off this auxiliary fuse panel, so that is all full. But I've always planned it like that I would eventually install this mirror, so it's perfect. Of course, I still got the boost gauge, works great. The Veloster and overhead lighting looks good. Of course, I have the OEM one back there. But yeah, overall it is complete, and took about an hour and a half to install. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful on how to install your auto dimming mirror in your Elantra GT, Hyundai, or even any other make or model. It's a pretty simple process as long as you know where the wiring is and where to grab power and stuff like that. It's all basically the same between vehicles, that you probably need a constant, a ground, and an ignition source. Some might be only ignition based, so it just varies from vehicle to vehicle. So as long as you have your wiring diagram and instructions, it's a really straightforward, simple process. So if you guys have any questions on my specific install with the auxiliary fuse panel or just the overall OEM install, let me know down in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. Again, this took about an hour and a half to complete. You know, filming takes longer for me, so hour to an hour and a half to complete, as long as you are pretty good with wiring. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. Definitely an easy DIY process, and I'd highly recommend it. So all that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Once again, please hit that like button if you did, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.